2 men from the HOA blocked my concrete truck, swung at me, and called my build illegal. One of them even cracked me across the jaw while his buddy filmed it on his phone like it was some kind of neighborhood entertainment. But what they didn't know was that every second of it, every shove, every word was caught on my own cameras, and that footage would be the reason they ended up in handcuffs instead of me. My name's Bob Thornton, and I thought I'd finally found peace when my wife Ava and I bought a rocky piece of land up on a ridge. It wasn't fancy, just dirt, wind, and the best sunset you've ever seen. We saved for years, got every permit, every inspection, every county signature. We did it all by the book, but apparently the HOA has its own book written in invisible ink by their queen, Karen Fraser. The first sign of trouble came in a letter printed on thick paper that smelled like perfume and arrogance. It said, my house would infringe upon the established view corridor of the community. I laughed when I read that out loud. A view corridor. The guy at the county office actually chuckled when I called. Mr. Thornton, there's no such thing as a protected view in this county, he said. Your land is yours. HOA can't touch you. That should have been the end of it. But people like Karen don't stop when the law tells them no, they just find new ways to say yes to themselves. She showed up one morning in a blinding white golf cart that looked like a spaceship. She wore tennis whites, a pink visor, and a smile sharp enough to cut wire. I'm the HOA president, she said, looking down at me standing in my muddy foundation trench. We have a serious problem. I told her I had a county permit. She waved her hand like she was brushing off a fly. The county doesn't understand the unique aesthetic of our community, she said. Then she shoved a binder at me. These are our covenants. You should have read them. I did, I said. They don't apply to dirt you don't own. She leaned closer, her voice going cold. They do when I say they do. Then she spun away in her silent little cart, leaving dust and fury behind her. The letters started coming soon after. Cease and desist. Legal threats. Talk of fines. My lawyer told me to ignore it, they had no jurisdiction. But that didn't stop the whispers, the looks from neighbors. We became the outcasts. The Sunset Thieves. Then, one morning, a man in a blue windbreaker came marching up the drive. He had a clipboard, scuffed shoes, and the fake confidence of a mall cop. Bob Thornton, he barked. I'm Marshall Johnson's State Compliance Office. I almost laughed. There's no such office in our state. He flashed a badge so fast I couldn't read it. We've received a complaint about unpermitted grading and obstruction of view. You're in violation. He slapped a red tag on my doorframe stop work order in giant letters. My blood boiled. I told him all my permits were in the truck window signed by the county. He ignored me, started strutting around like he owned the place. When I told him to show me the badge again, his eyes darted around and he ran. Literally ran. I chased him to his car, grabbed his jacket, and it tore in my hand. Papers flew everywhere. He swung once, missed, and dove into his car, peeling out like a coward. Ava came running out from our trailer, eyes wide. Bob, what happened? She shouted. I just pointed at the mess on the ground. We picked up the papers together. That's when we saw it, an email chain between HOA board members. Karen's name right there. Make it look official, one line read, make it scary for them. I felt sick. This wasn't just harassment anymore. This was a conspiracy. Ava looked calm, steady. Don't touch the tag, she said. It's evidence. Call the sheriff. Deputy Miller showed up an hour later, took one look at the red tag, and shook his head. This paper's fake, he said. Wrong font, no seal, no signature, and State Compliance Marshal isn't real. He bagged it as evidence, collected the emails, took my statement. We'll be filing charges for impersonating a public official and assault, he said. That's a felony. That night, Ava ordered a full security system, high-def cameras, night vision, motion sensors, the works. They want to play dirty, she said, eyes glowing in the light of her laptop. We'll play smart. A few nights later, the cameras caught Gary and Ted, 2 HOA board members, sneaking around our property line. They were pulling out survey stakes and hammering them back in 5 feet deeper into our land. Trying to steal ground, literally. I wanted to run out there, but Ava stopped me. Let them finish, she whispered. Every stake they move is another charge. The next morning, I stood at the new line they'd created. I felt violated, like they'd tried to erase part of our world. I called Deputy Miller again. He sounded almost impressed. "Keep that footage safe, Mr. Thornton. We're building quite a case." A few days later came the attack. Concrete day. The biggest step in the build. The truck was rumbling up the hill ready to pour the foundation when it stopped dead at the entrance. A neat little wall of orange traffic cones blocked the road. Behind them stood Gary and Ted, arms crossed wearing matching HOA polos. The driver leaned out. "You got a problem here. I can't wait long. This load's cooking." I walked up already knowing where this was going. "Move the cones," I said. Gary smirked. "The HOA Safety Committee has determined your construction traffic poses a risk. You'll have to stop work." "You mean the same safety committee that moved my property stakes at 2 a.m, I shot back. His smile faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Move the cones," I said again, stepping forward. That's when he shoved me. Hard. I stumbled back, caught myself, and shoved him right back. He swung, missed, but his buddy Ted grabbed my arm and the next punch landed clean across my jaw. Pain exploded through my face. The truck driver jumped down, voice booming. "That's assault. I'm calling the cops." Gary and Ted froze pale. Then they bolted, leaving their stupid cones behind. By the time the sheriff arrived, the concrete had hardened in the truck, a total loss. But we had something better, a witness and a bloody lip. Deputy Miller was furious. He promised arrests, and for the first time I believed him. That night I looked at myself in the mirror, swollen jaw, split lip, and I felt it. That crushing wave of doubt. Maybe we should just sell the land, start over somewhere else. Maybe we were the problem. Maybe peace wasn't worth all this pain. Ava sat beside me, calm as ever. "Bob," she said softly, "if we leave, they win. They'll do this to the next person and the next. We're not fighting for a view, we're fighting for what's right." Her words stuck. I wasn't just building a house anymore. I was building proof that people like Karen don't get to rewrite the law. A few nights later, the cameras went dark. Every single one. Ava's phone buzzed non-stop system failure alerts. "They cut the power," she said. We froze. The night outside was pitch black. My stomach twisted. Someone was out there. But then Ava smirked. "They're not as smart as they think." She typed a few keys and bam, the feeds flickered back on. Turns out she'd paid extra for a battery backup and cellular link. And there he was, Ted. Clear as day, staring right into the camera, he thought he'd killed holding bolt cutters and grinning like an idiot. Ava emailed the clip straight to Deputy Miller with the subject line, "Look who came to visit." The next morning, we got an anonymous email titled Proof, 3 screenshots. It was the HOA group chat, Karen, Gary, Ted, all of them. Legal letters aren't working. One message said, "We need to escalate." Another, "My cousin can look official post a red tag, make it scary." And then Karen's words, "Do what you have to do. Cut their utilities. Make them go." That was it. We had everything intent conspiracy crimes in writing. Our lawyer called that night. "Bob, this is a civil and criminal goldmine," he said. "You can take them down personally." And that's what we did. We hired a professional survey team, GPS drone laser, scanning the whole deal. They confirmed everything. The HOA had no jurisdiction, our build was fully legal, and our house didn't block a single protected view. We sent the report to their lawyer, along with a counterclaim for damages, concrete security system legal fees, and the land they'd tried to steal. Karen's response. She doubled down. Anonymous hate notes, eggs on our trailer, even a low-ball buyout offer claiming they wanted to restore peace. Ava and I just laughed, tore it up, and mailed the pieces back. But the constant harassment wore me down. I started to wonder if this would ever end. Until one night, watching the sunset, I had an idea. A dumb, beautiful, petty idea. The next evening, I set up a massive movie screen at the edge of our lot, pointed a camera at the sunset, and projected it in real time for the entire neighborhood to see. Free sunset. All welcome, the sign said. Ava made cocoa. People came. Neighbors who'd avoided us for months brought chairs. Kids laughed. For the first time, it felt like a community again. Karen drove up in her golf cart, stopped halfway, and just stared, watching everyone enjoy the view she claimed to own. She spun her cart around and disappeared down the hill. That was the night I knew we'd already won. A week later, we walked into court. Judge Rollins, old-school no-nonsense presiding. The HOA's lawyer strutted in like he was auditioning for TV, waving the fake red tag as Exhibit A. "Your Honor," he said the defendants ignored this state-issued stop-work order. Our lawyer didn't even blink. "Deputy Miller," he called. The deputy testified that the order was a forgery, the marshal a criminal under investigation. The judge looked over his glasses. "So your case rests on a fake document your clients created?" he asked the HOA's lawyer. Silence. Then the guy tried to present a little model, a dollhouse version of our neighborhood with our house built like a giant block hiding everyone's view. The judge looked from the toy to our certified survey report and started laughing, a slow, uncontrollable laugh that filled the courtroom. "Counselor," he said between chuckles, "are you seriously using this kindergarten diorama to challenge a county-approved GIS report?" When he stopped laughing, his tone turned ice cold. "This is the most malicious, frivolous lawsuit I've seen in years." He dismissed the case with prejudice, fined the HOA for all damages, and referred the evidence of impersonation and assault to the district attorney. Then he turned to Karen. "Your little kingdom ends at Mr. Thornton's property line," he said, "and today it's run straight into the law." The gavel came down like thunder. It was over. Karen, Gary, and Ted were arrested within weeks, charges of assault, vandalism, and conspiracy. The HOA collapsed under its own weight. And standing outside that courthouse, I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt steady. Because when people try to bully you off your own land, the best revenge isn't yelling or fighting back, it's staying put and letting the truth do the heavy lifting. Lesson: never let small people convince you your dream is too big for the rules they invent.